Good evening, everybody. If you're watching this on replay, let me know in the comments by typing replay so that I know that you watched and I can engage you. But President Trump endorses Treasury Department suspension of BOI reporting requirements. This came in a few days ago, y'all. And if you've been following me, then you know that I've been reporting on this and talking about it every time something happens. And literally, something happens every month, it seems like. Every single month, there's always something where it's been scaled back, it's been brought back, it's been scaled back, it's been brought back. It's like an emotional roller coaster when it comes to this thing, right? And for those who don't know, the BOI, the Beneficial Ownership Information Report, is a report that Congress or FinCEN had came up with that essentially was saying everyone that owns an LLC or a corporation, we need you to file a report with us that tells us who owns each of these LLCs and corporations, who created the LLC or corporation for you. We want a copy of your passport or driver's license. And I'm not just talking about the person that is on the LLC or corporation, but all the partners, right? If you are a part of a LLC or corporation that has 25 owners in it, all of you need to report like your identity. You need to give your passport, your ID, or and other kinds of personal information. And so this has been a big deal. This has been a big deal in regards to, do people should we do it or not, right? So there's times where Congress is like, yes, we're on board, and there's times where they scale it back because of, let's say, a lawsuit, and then the lawsuit gets overturned, and Congress is bringing it back, and then it gets scaled back, right? So it's over the past year, or actually over the past about 6 months, it feels like there's always been like a decision, then a scale back, decision, scale back. So the president finally jumped in and said, look, this is crazy. We are scaling this thing back. We are suspending it for the time being. So notice that I didn't say eliminate. I said suspend, because there's a chance that this might still go through. We might still be required to file this in the future. So from everything that I'm reading, it's a suspension. It's not an elimination. So I just wanted to make that clear for those of you who think that this is, now that President Trump has stepped in and said his piece, that it's off the table, because it's not off the table. It still could potentially be something that we all file. So let me know in the comments what you think about this. Do you think this is something that Congress should pass? It's something that we should take seriously and file? Let me know also if you've actually filed it as well. I think it's important to note that from the looks of things, no matter if you support the president or you don't, I think the majority of us are in unison that this is something that we don't really want to do, right? Do we really want to give our personal information in this form, bear out everything, bear out our driver's license, our passport, and all these other things that identify us? It's time consuming, and it's potential identity theft that could happen out of this. And a lot of people are probably saying to themselves, why are we required to do this if we filed the LLC with the state? But that's because each state isn't necessarily talking to the government, right? The government is a separate entity from each state. So therefore, whenever you file anything with the state, that's the state's records. They're not passing that on to the government. So the government's saying, hey, we want transparency. We want to be able to see what is going on. We want to know if there's any fraud happening, right? Because there's a lot of people that create shell accounts, right? A shell account is an account or like a company that people create to do fraudulent activity or to just hold or whatnot, right? And the government wants to know what's going on. There's a lot of people that funnel money out of the United States to different countries, and the government wants to know all that trail, right? They want to know the money trail. They want to be able to get their piece, get their tax money out of that. So, this is a situation where, there was a lawsuit that came about, right, with this whole thing. And when the lawsuit happened, it halted everything. But then the lawsuit got overturned, and then it was back on. And I think it was off the table then February, like literally a few weeks ago in February, they said, hey, we're bringing it back. And not only are we bringing it back, but it's due a month from now, which was February 21st. So it was due March 21st. And then recently the president stepped in and said his piece and said, no, we're going to suspend this. I need you guys to get your act together and figure out some things, because having everybody just submit all this personal information doesn't really make sense. So I think right now what's happening is the government is they're looking at everything, their processes, their procedures, and they're saying, you know what, maybe we might need to scale some of this back. Maybe it may not make sense for all these things that we're requesting to be reported. And so it's currently being suspended. And so we'll see if it comes back on the table. But let me know what you think. Is this something that you are willing to file? Is this something that you have filed? Is it something that you think should be in rotation where it's filed every single year? Right? Because this is something that every single year, if this, let's say this passes and it comes out of suspension, this is something that the government would want us to file every single year. And let's say you have 5 to 10 to 20 LLCs or corporations. You have to do this for every single one. So that means you either have to do it yourself, which is not really a hard form to do, or you got to hire someone to do it, or you got to take someone on your team and literally have them do it. Either way, it's going to cost you either time or money. So it's just one of those things where, a lot of people are looking at it like, you know what, this is a big inconvenience. This doesn't make sense. And I'm in agreement. I'm not really for it. I did a couple of my LLCs, but I haven't done all of them yet. And I'm glad that President Trump stepped in and said his piece, because, at one point I was going to have to sit down probably towards the deadline and knock them all out. Right. So I want to know everybody's opinion. I want to know your thoughts. The ones that did it, was it easy? Was it something that was challenging to do, or was it something that was pretty straightforward and pretty easy? And for those of you, let's say they do bring it back, I have created a short video that literally walks you through everything step by step. It's a 5 to 10 minute video, and it walks you through everything, and it shows you how to literally file it in 5 minutes. So, if you want that, let me know and I can send that to you so that you can have in your back pocket in the event that they bring this filing back. But definitely want to know what you guys think, because for me personally, I'm not a fan of it. And, I'm glad President Trump stepped in and said his piece. So now we can have some breathing room. For those of us who do prepare this for clients, it is tax season. So it's one of those things where, we would have had to balance that. We would have had to juggle that with all the business filings that are due, with all the personal tax return filings that are due, with all the letters that clients are receiving from the IRS. And as you know, if you've been paying attention to any of my content the past few weeks, the government, Elon Musk and the DOGE, Department of Governmental Efficiency Department, stepped in and said we're going to fire and let go of about 6,000 to 15,000 IRS employees. So if you understand what that means that there potentially could be a situation where there might be a lot of work on the remaining employees. And so if there's a lot of work on the remaining employees, there may not be enough people to potentially answer the phones, do the customer service, talk to us about any of the issues that we have from the IRS. So when you compound all that, when you compound like the IRS agents being let go, when you compound BOI potentially being on the table, when you compound the business tax returns, partnership returns, LLC returns, nonprofit returns, corporation returns, the personal returns, it's a lot for a lot of accountants, right? So, if you're an accountant, I know you're kind of happy that this is off the table. This is one less thing that you have to worry about for your clientele. And, it is what it is. But yeah, I just wanted to come on and briefly talk about this. And, if you guys have anything that you wanted to talk about or any questions around this, let me know in the comment section. And yeah, definitely subscribe to the YouTube. We're on YouTube at Ephraim CPA. We're on all the platforms, and we're going to be talking about a lot more things, not just BOI related, but business related, finance related. There's some more content that I have on the table that's going to come out very, very soon. And we're going to jump into some things. I might have to pull out the whiteboard, right? And pull out the iPad and break down some concepts so that people understand things like cash flow management, inventory management, tax planning, things like that. So if you're interested in that kind of content, let me know in the comments as well, and I'll put that together. But I appreciate all you guys for tuning in, and I'll see you guys soon.